In the 2020 offseason, the Minnesota Vikings had the fifth-year option with Eric Wilson, where they placed a second-round tender on Eric Wilson. He was a restricted free agent, and he played under that second-round tender as nobody was willing to take it. And he played under that tender where he had quite the season with the team. And this raises some question because now him being an unrestricted free agent, where the Vikings don't have a whole lot of cap space after they signed Stephen Weatherly, they're stuck. I mean, they cut Kyle Rudolph. Yes, this puts us in positive cap space, which is very helpful. But it's pretty tough because right now Eric Wilson, he was our starting weak side linebacker because Anthony Barr was injured for a majority of the season after being injured week 2. So during Rick Spielman's press conference on Monday, he said Eric Wilson's return seems highly unlikely. On top of that, he was talking about how much he likes Anthony Barr, how much they love Anthony Barr, which, by the way, we all knew this was going to happen. Nothing Rick Spielman said was a surprise. Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer, when Mike Zimmer came in, Anthony Barr was the first draft pick they had. And if there's one thing about a head coach and GM, that first draft pick is the most important thing. Because it's what everyone starts seeing you as. Everyone can think you're a horrible GM. All of a sudden you draft a player like Anthony Barr, who's made, 3 Pro Bowls now? 4 times Pro Bowler and a second team All-Pro in 2015. This was their first draft pick together, and that's why they like Anthony Barr this much. Because they've really actually helped out their career a lot. And this is why they've been here for so long. Well, one of the reasons why they've been here for so long. So Anthony Barr right now, what Rick Spielman said, he said that they cannot afford 3 high-paid linebackers. Which is obvious. They can't afford 3 high-paid linebackers. They must choose between Eric Wilson and Anthony Barr. In fact, even if we could afford 3 high-paid linebackers, Eric Wilson is not bringing to the table the value that you can get from maybe Joe Thuney in free agency, or maybe one of these safeties. There is so much more value you can get from other positions than you're going to be getting with Eric Wilson, who would be another outside linebacker alongside Anthony Barr. Anthony Barr is currently the 6th highest paid outside linebacker, and Eric Kendricks is the 9th highest paid inside linebacker. You bring back Eric Wilson, you are going to be putting far too much money on the linebacker position. So if you look at their last couple seasons. Now, Anthony Barr, obviously, we're not going to go off of the 2020 season where he only played 2 games. We're going off of his 2019 season and Eric Wilson this last year, where they both started a majority of the games. Anthony Barr started 14 games in 2019, where he had 79 total tackles, an interception, a forced fumbled, 4 pass deflections, 1.5 sacks, and 6 tackles for loss. In 2020, Eric Wilson started 15 out of 16 games, played 16 games where he had 122 total tackles, 3 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 8 pass deflections, 3 sacks, and 8 tackles for loss. So you take a look at their last 2 seasons. Eric Wilson statistically did have the better season than Anthony Barr when you're judging off of their last season that they played. So who are you going to go with? You're going to go with the player who played better last year and is younger, and that is Eric Wilson. But what is the safer route? Is it going with Eric Wilson, who may be a one-year wonder? Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Obviously, Eric Wilson, he was a one-man show last year. Him and Harrison Smith were alone just trying to carry this defense. That's completely different from what happened with Anthony Barr these last few years, where he just wasn't being utilized to his potential, and Eric Wilson had a lot more opportunities to actually get tackles. That's why he had 122, while Anthony Barr played under better defenses. So you take a look at this. Who are you sticking with? You are going to stick with Eric Wilson, but you have to look at these contracts. What is the safer route? Well, you can say you can cut Anthony Barr right now and sign Eric Wilson. Yes, you can. You definitely can, if you don't want to bring in an offensive guard. It's not going to hold the same value. Who is the better outside linebacker? Is it Anthony Barr, who's made 3 or 4 Pro Bowls and was a second-team All-Pro? Or is it Eric Wilson, who was an undrafted free agent, who has had 1 good year? I guess you can say 2 good years, but 1 good year as a starter, 1 very solid year, a breakout player. He was the breakout player for the Minnesota Vikings this last season, not counting rookies here. Who are you going to go with? Because this is the big question that the Vikings have to answer. You can't have them both. And this is what Rick Spielman said. They cannot afford 3 very high-paid linebackers. And it's obvious they can't. And even if they could, it would be stupid. You're putting too much money in the linebacker position where you're going to lose players on the offensive line. You're going to lose players in this defensive line. What was the worst? What held the Vikings back the most the 2020 season? protecting Kirk Cousins from the interior side of the line, rushing the passer, stopping the run. Bringing back Eric Wilson is not going to do anything again for that. It's not. Now, once you look at it, you have to take a look at Anthony Barr. What if you cut Anthony Barr right now? Anthony Barr, you're paying 8.1% of your cap. If you cut Anthony Barr today and sign Eric Wilson, you're only saving $7.26 million in cap space. If you cut him today and sign Eric Wilson. Or actually, that's just if you cut him today. And then he's going to be worth $7.8 million in dead cap. So even if you cut Anthony Barr today, you're still paying him $7.8 million in 2021. It's going to be terrible against the cap space. And if you cut him, cut Anthony Barr, and sign Eric Wilson, now your adjusted cap is at approximately negative $8.78 million. That's where the Vikings cap space would be at if they cut Anthony Barr and sign Eric Wilson. Is it really worth that much to move on from Anthony Barr and sign Eric Wilson, who now a lot of Vikings fans are saying is the next guy up, is the next big thing? Weren't we saying the same thing about Anthony Harris 1 year ago, who had one very good season? We were saying the same thing about Anthony Harris. Look how he did this last year. What if you move on from Anthony Barr, go to Eric Wilson, and it ruins the team? You know why it would ruin the team? That's not the biggest thing. The money, the cap space, that's what would ruin the team. If you do this, you're not going to have a player like Joe Thuney coming in and starting a left guard. You're not going to have a player like Gabe Jackson coming in and starting a right guard. These are players the Vikings have to look at this free agent market, or a player like Keenan Cole, who will have so much more value than it would from moving on from Anthony Barr and going to Eric Wilson. Keelan Cole, he would be a wide receiver 3 coming right when the Vikings sign him. He would be a starting wide receiver 3. He would start from inside the slot, and he would be a starting special teams returner. He could just bring so much more value to the team. And obviously, Joe Thuney, Gabe Jackson. There are so many pieces the Vikings can look at right here instead of bringing back Eric Wilson. And that's why bringing back Eric Wilson, it's not going to happen. He's going to go play with another team, and it wouldn't be worth it. It wouldn't be worth it for the Vikings to bring back Eric Wilson. I hate to admit it because, yes, I would actually choose Eric Wilson over Anthony Barr right now. I would, and that's just because I haven't seen a lot from Anthony Barr these last couple seasons. And I would choose Eric Wilson over Anthony Barr. But it financially makes no sense. It doesn't. It makes no sense for the Vikings to do that. It would ruin this team. We wouldn't have any chance because of this. Now, you take a look at it, though. Say for some reason, Eric Wilson stays a free agent until after the draft and is still a free agent. This is called third wave of free agency. It's after June 1st. If the Vikings wait till June 1st, say Eric Wilson is still a free agent, and the Vikings decide to cut Anthony Barr and sign Eric Wilson instead, this would make sense. Because if the Vikings cut Anthony Barr June 1st and after that, it would save us $12.46 million in cap space, and he would still be worth $2.6 million in dead cap, but our adjusted cap space would be $8.42 million. Obviously, if the Vikings signed Joe Thuney or something, we'd still be negative, but it would be so much more worth it. This would be worth it. Now, is this going to happen? It's highly unlikely that this would happen because obviously Eric Wilson will likely go near the first wave of free agency because he is young and he had as great of a season as he had this last year. So, in all honesty, let's take a recap. If the Vikings decide to move on from Anthony Barr and sign Eric Wilson, it will ruin our team. Obviously, unless if they wait until June 1st and after that, where this would make a whole lot of more sense financially. But Anthony Barr is the safest route. Eric Wilson might have been a one-year wonder. Anthony Barr is 4 Pro Bowls and a second-team All-Pro. He is the safer route. And they are going to go with Anthony Barr. They're going to choose Anthony Barr over Eric Wilson because Anthony Barr is loved by Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman. He was Mike Zimmer's first draft pick. And for that reason, he's going to stay with this team. And I from what I've seen from Anthony Barr, he is willing to stay with this team. Maybe Anthony Barr will be the comeback player for the Minnesota Vikings this 2021 season. They just have to blitz him more. Use him more as a pass rusher than they did this last couple seasons where they were trying to use him stopping those big runs and playing in coverage. Just use Anthony Barr as a pass rusher because that's what he's the best at, is rushing the passer from the outside. For that reason, the Minnesota Vikings will not bring back Eric Wilson Instead, they will look to someone else in free agency, not a linebacker. They will look to linebackers in the draft. They will look to someone else in free agency, and they will stick with Anthony Barr for at least one more season. Let me know what y'all think.